So far we have configured PHP and MySQL. We created the database, and on the last video we connected the database by creating the connection.php. So in this video we're going to continue and we're going to start working on our HTML form, and we will advance our PHP project. But right before, let me show you how the project will look like. We're gonna have a nice navigation bar with the logo, the home page, the about page, and the contact. We're gonna have a small login button which we can implement later, and then we're gonna have this add new button. When we press on this button, we can have a modal, and this modal will give you new user. So we actually gonna be able to enter the name, the email, the phone, the status, ask the person, do you have kids, yes or no, and then also put some interests like books, music, sports, and other, and then we'll be able to save the changes, and those changes will appear. Actually, all the information will be linked to the database that we created on the previous videos, and we're gonna be able to close this. So this is how our project is gonna look like. So very excited to continue with you guys. So let's go right away and start using Bootstrap to style this project. So we want to add a little bit of style. In order for us to add a little bit of style, we're gonna go to Bootstrap. And when you go to Bootstrap, you can click over here, get started with Bootstrap. And over here we have the CDN links that will give us the CSS and also the JavaScript. And at this point we're gonna be able to work with Bootstrap and be able to use. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy those links. We're gonna copy first the JavaScript, and let's go into our File Explorer, and let's go back into our C and then XAMPP. This is where we put all our folders and files in the HTT docs and PHP course. So here we have the connection PHP and the index PHP. So we're gonna press on Shift on your keyboard, and then we're gonna open PowerShell. By now you should know this because we've done it in at least 2 of the last videos, and this will open Visual Studio Code. And as you can see, your connection PHP, your index PHP is right here. So this is the connection that we did on the last video, and now we have the index. So now we're gonna start working a little bit with the index of our project. And what we're gonna do over here, we're gonna put an exclamation mark and emmet. The emmet extension will actually help you. Just when you put a exclamation mark then enter, it will give you everything you need in order to start working on your project with HTML. And we're gonna call this project PHP, and as you can see we have our head. This is where we're gonna put the link. Actually we can put it right here before the title. So if we come to Bootstrap, you're gonna see over here, this is the way we can use it. It's already over here, the script. Okay, we can copy it from here. And then we can do the same for the CSS. There you go. So now we are linked to the Bootstrap library, and we also have the JS for Bootstrap. Let's Control S to save this. And over here we're not gonna need this anymore. We're gonna probably use it later. On the body, if you look at the project, we have a navigation bar. So where do we get this? It's pretty simple. You go over here on Bootstrap. Let's say you're on the main page here, Bootstrap. It's pretty simple. Just go on the search bar, and then you can go and type nav, and that's gonna give you examples of navigation bar. And we want to take one that has a little bit of color, so it makes it more interesting right here. So pretty simple. We can as you can see here, it tells you over here the dark border primary is the blue, BG primary, background primary means blue, background blue. If you want to find out about the colors, you know what color it's when it says over here, you just go to colors. Primary means blue, success means green, danger is red, and so on. You can take a look over here. So let's go into the navbar, because this is what we're working with, and we can take any of these bars and then just we modify it as we want it. But let me go and check the blue. Yeah, this one, but actually the content is not there, it's just this part. So what we need to do in this case, we take one of those, the first one or the second one, something like this, or let me see, disable it, or this. It comes to the same. So just grab it from here, clip to the clipboard, and we come here to the body, and we're gonna put it into the body. You have background body, tertiary. So what you can do instead, we can remove this and we can say BG primary. Okay, Control S to save, and then you can modify this. Instead of features, then we can say about, and instead of pricing we can say contact. Now we have an LE that is over here disabled, which we don't really need, so we can remove this LE, and yeah, like this. And instead what we can do over here, after the UL, we can do a span, and we can give it a class to the span equals to navbar text, and then we can make the text white, and we might have to change this for if we go back on the index, let's refresh this. There you go. So this is the navbar, home, about, and contact, and we still have the full bootcamp of before. So what we can probably do, it's instead of navbar, you can put the title you want. In my case I will call it project, PHP project. And as you can see the text white over here, this is where we can type login, and we can get rid of this. We'll use some PHP later on when we're gonna be start working on the form. For now we don't need this. This was just an example when we configure PHP to make sure everything was working properly. There you go. And if we go back on the navbar here on the blue one, okay, so we're trying to imitate this, and then we have here a navbar text with an inline element. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do. So what we have to do is actually we put inline over here after the UL. The UL closes over here, but if we wanted to have it inline, since there's this div over here, so we have to place it after the div. So now actually it takes in consideration the inline from the span. So now you move the element from here to here. And then for the text, well, since the text is not being white, so we're gonna give a class to all these anchor elements and tell them that this text should be white, and this one also, the about text white, the home, this anchor, we go to the class over here, we add text white, and now finally the PHP, the anchor over here, we add text white. So now what's gonna happen is all this will become white. Just Control S to save, and now we can refresh, and now we have our nice looking navbar already complete. So now let's go ahead and we're gonna do a button, the button add new. And for the button add new, what we can do is over here, once again go back to get bootstrap, and you can go here on buttons, and actually instead of getting it from the button, we're gonna take it directly from the model, because we're gonna be using this model. It's the pop-up that makes a nice effect. So we can go down here, and this one here, that would be nice, as you can see. Plus he has some comments already, so we can actually copy the whole model. You have the button and the model, and we're gonna bring it over here. So after the nav, we'll have the button, and we can change right away over here the model title. Let's make it add new, and then over here add new, or even maybe create user, something like that. You can put whatever you want. We're gonna close it, we're gonna Control save just to go and look, and as you can see, you have the create user over here. Now it's not appearing nicely, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna give a margin to it. How do we give a margin? We go over here and we just use one class of bootstrap. It's M for margin, and then 5 for, I believe it's 5 pixels. So if we Control S and refresh, now it's actually more than 5, maybe MD5. You can make a search maybe and see what, let me see, let's go in and check the margins and paddings over here. Actually no, here you have it, margin 0 means 0, 1 is 0.25 size of, and so we're using 5, it's padding of 3. So spacer, now need to define what's the spacer size, and then as you can see over here, it's giving you, it's using some preset. A spacer means 1 rem, and 1 rem I think is 16 pixels if I'm not mistaken. So in any case, it gives some kind of padding, so you can choose from 0 to 5 and then find which one is the one that you like the most, or it's more appropriate to what you're looking for. You gotta read all this documentation if you want to find out, or you can just use the regular CSS. If you know a bit about CSS, you can create your own style and create an ID or create another class name and then set your own margins and paddings. But for the moment, I think it looks good like that. And when you click on it, you get your model add new. Maybe we should put add new user so we know where we're talking about, and those 3 dots is where the form will go. Add new user, like this, add new user, and the body or the form will go over here. Okay, so here we can put a comment form, and then we close, and we can remove those 3 dots so we know this is where we're gonna put our form. And you can do the same thing for the form. You can go to Bootstrap, look for forms, and then you can find different forms like this one: email address, password. Okay, not much about forms. The examples are small examples of forms. Okay, but you can start with one example and then you create. With this example it's more than enough, I believe, but if not, we're just gonna need the field. So here, let me give you the form that I use, so like that you don't need to go line by line. It's pretty simple. You have your input fields. I link it on the description. So over here we're gonna put a form that I already created it. So basically the method will be post, which we're gonna be using on PHP later on. So this is the form. The form will have the method post and then the action which we're gonna create after. We have the label, its name. Label is this part over here that says, where it says female or like this, so we're gonna call it name. Placeholder, you know, it's the small gray thing here. It's a placeholder, so I called it name as well. Placeholder, you can even put here enter your name like this, so you know it's the placeholder. Email, the same thing. We can say enter your email address, and here we can say also email address. What's important is the name, because the name, this is what we're gonna be using later on when we're gonna create the PHP. So the name, it's over here, email sample. This we're gonna be using for coding later with PHP. So we're gonna attach the fields to PHP and then send them to the database, so the database can save the information. Then you have the phone placeholder. We're gonna put, once again, enter your phone number. Okay, then the status, single, married, other. This one's, it's the status, it's a select, so people are going to be able to select. And then the kids, it's gonna be a radio button, yes, no. It's gonna be a boolean, 1 or 0. And finally the interest. So the interest, it's gonna be a checkbox inline, and the value you have it is books, the label too, music, sport, and others. And then since we don't need a submit because there's already on the model a save button over here, we can use this save button and the close button from the model as the submit button to save the information to the database. So basically this is what it is. If I Control S to save this and I go and reload, okay, I'm gonna reload this now. Create user, let's click on it, and there you have it. You have the model. As you can see, you have here the save and close model over here. Maybe we can change this part because it seems that we are outside the div. So we can take this and put it maybe here, and Control S to save and see what happens. There you go, because the two elements were outside the div, so now we put them inside the div, so it looks more cleaner. So you have the form, very nice form, where people are going to be able to register, add a new user, and then save the information and close and go to the database, which we'll do on the next video. If you found any value on this course, I would really appreciate if you show me some support by subscribing. It's totally free. Just take 10 seconds of your time just to show me your support by subscribing. It might not mean a lot to you, but it does mean a lot to me. Also, if you're serious about your learning, then I suggest you to go to Udemy over here, and then you search Web Developer 2024, and my course will come over here, the third one over here. When you click on it, that will bring you to the full course that I developed for you guys, how to become a web front developer 2024 beginners bootcamp. It's packed with a lot of information for you guys, the full roadmap over here. You have the setup, how to set up your environment, the FB system. Nobody has this system. This is a great system that will allow you to implement and understand the code really quick. And then you have a full bootcamp on HTML. You also have another bootcamp on Bootstrap. You have also another bootcamp on web hosting and how to go live with your websites. Then I give you an introduction to Angular. I also talk to you about version control, Git, and how to set it up for front-end development, and also help you to connect to Angular with Git. Also, I give you another overview with Visual Studio Code and backend project with PHP as the one you're seeing right now. Also, that's an introduction to PHP, JavaScript, and much more. And this is always being updated for you guys to give you the best information that you need. So I will give you the full roadmap on how to become a web developer in 2024.